right, that could go on for a while. Experience the long-lasting freshness of Clorox Scentiva, available in Clorox Scentiva Lavender Scented Bleach. Use as directed.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Good morning, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I'm really excited about today's guest, Ryan from Los Angeles, and he's going to talk to us about a very important topic that all companies need to address is customer experience. He's a certified customer experience professional. We all had our experience with the government and just airlines, all these legacy industries. And so I'm really happy to have him on, pick his brain, talk about AI and how the companies of tomorrow are innovating in this area. Ryan, welcome.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. It's been excited and ready to have this chat. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah. And briefly, you're the founder of Tightship CX. What is it? And I'm excited to dive into the conversation.
Yeah, of course. Tightship CX, we're a boutique consulting firm here in Los Angeles where we help a lot of small and mid-sized businesses with their customer experience strategy. Now, what is customer experience? A lot of people might confuse that with customer service. Customer experience, the way I like to describe it is like the holistic view of a customer's experience with your brand. If they're engaging with your marketing, if they're clicking on your website, if they are going through your sales process or reaching out to you support, if they're physically in your store, everything that a customer does in reference with your brand, that's customer experience holistically. And what we do is we try to really ensure that businesses do the work to understand what their customers want, value, and desire. Because if you don't know that, you can't give your customers what they want, value, desire, and help them achieve their goals. And so our goal is to just shift the framework for businesses to do better work, to better understand their customers so they can serve their customers better. And throughout that process, we're increasing conversion, we're helping them retain customers, but almost more importantly, helping them determine inefficiencies to help them reduce the cost to serve. If you have inefficient processes in terms of how you're even engaging with your customers, it's going to be more and more expensive as you grow and as you scale. And yeah, really just giving the customer a seat at the table so that you can ensure all of your processes and your product are meeting the needs for your customers long term.
Interesting. So we know first question I have for you is I think it was the one when we were talking about the customer experience. I think it was Tony Hsieh of Zappos, where he talked about this culture at Zappos and just the difference between customer service versus customer experience. What are some of the most common mistakes small businesses make when trying to improve their customer experience, and how can they fix them?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the first one, and I think this might be the more philosophical side of things, is that people view it as customer service, which in my way of thinking about it, it's more reactive and more transactional. Something broke, I need to now fix it. Or someone's unhappy, I need to now remedy it. The shift by thinking more about customer experience strategy is you start to do more work by going upstream to figure out, hey, why did it get to this point? And what are the things that we could do to change that? Or make sure that a problem never happens in the first place, to where we're doing the work to be like, this may lead to potential problems in the future. So what can we do to ultimately change that now? So I think the biggest thing you could start to do is figure out, by going further and further upstream, what is our customers' goals and motivations at every single stage? And is our product and our process currently delivering in those areas? And if you're not doing that, it's going to impact you somewhere downstream. So really just shifting to be, I no longer want to be reactive and transactional. I want to be proactive and better understand what are the things that I could do to get ahead of both my product or my processes today to impact things downstream. So I'd say that's the biggest thing that companies can start to do.
Oh, interesting. One of the other questions is just these internal processes, and what are some signs that a business's processes are actually hurting their customer experience?
Yeah, that's a really great question. There's quite a few different things, right? One is when there's an actual problem, right? Generally, businesses are viewing customer facing sides of their organization, whether that's support or customer service, and they view them as cost centers for their organization, right? We're spending a lot of money to staff this side of this just to solve problems, and it's an expense, right? The real value of our business are the money makers. That's our sales and our marketing teams, because they're actually bringing in the business. The problem with that mindset, though, is not recognizing that your actual support engine and your customer service side of your brand actually is impacting your revenue potential, right? It either keeps them coming back, it leads your customers to be able to be advocates for your brand, which brings you new business. Or if it's earlier in the funnel that they're having a not desirable experience, it generally means that they're probably not converting to become customers with you in the first place. And so, to be more specific, I think the biggest thing is your general metrics that you're already looking at are generally indicators that maybe something might be broken in the customer experience. So let's just say, for example, your marketing team's doing a really great job. They're pumping leads into the system and they're not converting. You have a conversion rate of 8% on all your leads that are coming in, or 15%, and you think it should be closer to 50. Some people may look at that and say, marketing isn't giving us the right type of leads. Or they may be saying our sales team is not good at closing leads. And those two things may be true. Your marketing may not be up to snuff, and your sales team may not be the strongest at the things that they're needing to do. However, if you don't actually do the work to then go in and understand what was the customer's experience in this situation, you're not going to actually be able to uncover that there's something broken in there if you're just going off of assumptions. So my goal is always to make sure that we're doing the work to truly understand what is happening with the customer and the customer's experience, as opposed to what do I assume the reason is. And so in that example where people aren't converting, I had a company I was working with. They are a software-based company. I'll keep the name out of it, but they made prospecting software for businesses. And they gave this great free trial where people could come and use their product, and it was amazing, but no one was actually converting to purchase after the free trial. Not nobody, but a very small amount. And now, so they were saying, did we have the wrong leads, the wrong type of people utilizing it? And so when we actually zoomed in and actually gained insights from the people who were utilizing the trial, it wasn't that they didn't like the product. It was that the free trial period was so short, only 14 days, that they couldn't even see the value from the product yet. So if we're talking about prospecting, they can't get anything done in these 14 days. Of course, they're not going to see the value to then be able to pay for the product. So just simply extending the trial length to 45 days, they started to see results, and then ultimately led to them converting and actually purchasing the product. So my biggest thing is, let's give the customer a seat at the table. There are already probably metrics that you're not happy with in your organization, and that's generally something that's broken in your customer experience. So let's zoom in and actually learn, what are the goals and motivations of the customers? What are they saying? And if we're not meeting that, that's probably going to help us solve those other outcomes.
Interesting. Moving the conversation forward is, we've, like I alluded to, we've had our fair share of bad experiences with rental cars or airlines or what are a few way of businesses that can improve the customer journey? And if there was one thing that business owners should focus on their customer experience, what would you recommend?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things that I think of this Henry Ford quote all the time, right? Henry Ford has this quote that a lot of entrepreneurs lately use for the purposes of speaking about innovation. And the quote is like, Henry Ford, who made the automobile and was a legend, had this quote where he said, if I would have asked the people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. And while that's great for innovators to be like, the people don't know what they want, we need to innovate. I like to think about that quote in a little bit of a different way, which is that the people did know what they want. They just didn't necessarily know how to get there. And so the questions we should have been asking in those circumstances is, why do they want faster horses? What are the things that a faster horse would do? Does it save them time? And if so, why? Does it give them more energy and effort? Or what are the problems that it solves in their lives? And then you still may be able to get to the automobile, right? And you may learn that a faster horse may not actually be the way that they get what they want, but that there's actually a need behind the thing that they're saying. So I do love that quote, but I love it for a different reason. And similar thing, when we think about the airline industry, there's the Southwest who's just made a big change in their world about like getting rid of their free bag policy and getting rid of open seating and things like that. One of the things that it's going to be a wait to see moment for us, right, in terms of what happens. But one of the things that I think they're ignoring is there's a reason their customers are choosing their brand, right? And so if we were to ask their core customer base, why do you choose Southwest Airlines? The things they might be saying is the stuff that they value is the open seating policy, is the free checked bags. And so one of the things that a business owner can start to leverage is who is your customer base? And if you may have multiple segmentations of your customer base. If I think Delta Airlines instead of Southwest, for example, they have two major customer bases. Maybe you have your business people who are traveling multiple times per month or multiple times per week even. They have a different set of goals and motivations and values and how they choose their airline that someone who's going on vacation one time a year, taking their whole family to be able to do it. And so how are you better understanding who are your customer bases? It might be multiple. And are your services, or do you have services that cater to each of them? And so that's the biggest thing for me is when you start gaining feedback to better understand your customers, do the extra work to go behind the need. If someone says, I would love an extra checked bag for free, why are they asking for that, right? Is it cost prohibitive? Is it because that the types of customers that you are attracting are generally people who have to carry a bunch of luggage all the time? Better understanding your customers can help you understand what your products and features can be in the future. So for businesses, it's just understand your customers and go that next level deeper to say they're going to be asking for things. They want things to be different about the experience. Why are they asking for it? What impact does it have for them if they ask for it? And so that would be the main advice I'd say.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, that's that you mentioned Southwest. I think they're more or less innovative and more going towards
Standard.
exactly.
Yeah. And it's hard. It's such a tough situation because if their existing policies have made it so that they're not profitable or they're really struggling financially, it's hard not to understand why they would try to make some changes to bring in some cash flow. But I do have to wonder that if you're trying to be more like the other airlines, there's a reason people flock to Southwest, and you are running a huge risk of being able to turn away that customer base, which is your core customer base. So I don't know what research they did. My hope is that they did something that makes them feel like this is the right decision, but it's hard for me to view that as an outside perspective to understand who the Southwest customer has been, that they're going to be attracted to this new line of thinking, which is just like every other airline.
Yeah. How can technology improve the customer journey? There's so many tech tools out there. Which one should they choose to support their operations and customer journey?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think technology is huge. And specifically with my business at Tight Ship, one of the core elements is how we implement technology to help people have really strong customer experience elements of their organization. That being said, technology doesn't replace fundamental core values, right? If at your core, your company is not customer centric, there's no amount of technology or widgets that we can implement that are going to make you have a better customer experience, right? Maybe there might be incremental improvements, but for the most part, if at a core level, your executive team top down is not thinking, hey, we are here to serve the customer and to do what's best for the customer, no amount of technology is going to do anything. And so I want to start with that. That being said, technology has made things so much easier for people to be able to better understand their customers, right? Before, unless I was able to have a one-on-one conversation with the customer, call it 30 years ago, it'd be very difficult for me to basically understand, why did a customer choose my brand? What are the things that they found attractive about my website? What are the things that they liked or didn't like about our product? What are the things that made them choose us versus another brand? Unless I'm having a one-to-one conversation with that customer, it would have been very difficult to be able to figure out that information. Now, today, the people might think the only way to get feedback is with surveys. There's so much information now that any website you're on, every click is being tracked. Everything you do is being recorded these days. You log on with a salesperson now, they have an AI note taker there that's getting all of your feedback and everything that you're saying about why you want to use the product. And that can now then be analyzed. And for every 100 meetings, you understand what are the main insights that every person who's met with us has to say about their goals and their motivations and what they're hoping to find with our product. And so very quickly, AI and technology is just giving us more and more customer insights. So that way we can retarget, we can retool our product and make significant changes. Not to mention the automation and operational efficiency side of things as well. Like you're getting people able to update their CRMs and update forecasts and update their pipeline just based on the fact that a customer added something to their cart on your website. So there's a lot of those technological improvements that are really great today. And one of my favorite ones recently, there's this company that I really love called Front. They're like an email omni-channel communication tool. But basically, in short version, what it is, if you have your multiple channels that you message your customers on, Facebook, Instagram, email, chat, phone calls, all of it gets consolidated into one platform. So that way your entire experience with your customer lives in the same space. But one of the biggest pain points that's existed is like when you're running a customer facing team, how do you judge the quality of those interactions? Even if you have all the metrics, you can see how fast that they're responding. You could see whether or not the ticket's being resolved. You really don't know the quality of the interaction unless you go through and have someone read through the interaction or change the interaction. And they just launched a new feature that's like AI is giving now QA scores to be able to be like, was the agent empathetic? Was the agent giving them solutions? Was the agent doing X, Y, and Z? And so it's really cool, the developments that are happening every single day.
Yeah. And along those lines, the companies that talk about just surveys and feedback and just creating raving fans versus a traditional marketing and advertising budget in a company.
Yeah. One of the biggest mistakes that companies make, especially surrounding surveys, is they do the surveys and then there's two things that don't happen. One, they don't do anything with the feedback. You ask everyone to be able to submit these surveys. Maybe one person, your CX person in your business, goes through and looks through it and says, yes, customers love us. Or, dang it, I don't want to read this. Customers are saying our product is crap and I don't want to take the energy to fix it. And so that's it. We did the good thing though, because we asked them. We sent them a survey, pat ourselves on the shoulder because we sent out the survey. The one problem with that though, is if you're not actually taking action from the feedback, your customers are going to recognize that. And then the next time you try to do a survey to gain some information, they're going to say, you didn't listen to us last time. We told you how bad your product was. We told you how bad your process was. We told you all the things you were unhappy with and you did nothing with it. So that's already making me feel like you don't care about me. So why should I care about your brand or the future of your brand? Yeah. The second thing that they don't do, even if they do actually utilize that feedback, is they never close the loop back with their customers. Let's just say I do have someone who took that feedback and was like, hey, everyone is saying that our product is bad for this reason. We're going to fix it. We're going to take all this work to fix it. We're going to re-engage our engineers. We're going to do everything because we want a better product for our customers. But the customer doesn't know you're doing that work. The customer doesn't know the reason you're making those changes is because you heard their feedback. So the other big thing that I think helps gain people who really feel involved with your brand is brands that close the loop. So in my ideal experience, the two things you could do if you are going to actually collect feedback is one, actually implement things that you get from the feedback, and two, tell your customers what you're doing. It's so simple to be like, hey, everyone, remember that survey we sent back 3 months ago? We learned a lot from this. We learned that our product had deficiencies in these areas. You found that working with our team was difficult in these areas. We found that you really love this avenue of our product that we haven't really been pushing that well. We're making all these changes. We're making our product more efficient. We're making our team better trained. And we're going to give you more and more of these features that you're asking for. Thank you for your feedback. We're better because you gave us this feedback. If you close the loop and actually implement those changes, customers are going to take every survey that you send in the future. They're going to feel like they're part of this journey and they're going to be advocates for you because they know that, hey, you listen to me and I'm so excited that I'm helping make a difference.
How can people connect with you and follow you and reach out to you if they were inspired or by listening or watching this podcast?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. I post at least once a week, but sometimes 3 to 5 times a week in terms of things that I'm seeing in the customer experience space. So you can follow me on LinkedIn, Ryan Rael, and I have my certification digits at the end. So if there's any other Ryan Raels out there, the one that's me has CCXP at the end of that. So LinkedIn's the best place. And then also you can go to our website, tightship-cx.com.
Excellent. Thanks so much for coming on and sharing this invaluable wisdom and guidance, and keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. It was such a joy and loved being on. So thank you.